Good morning, listeners, and thank you so much for tuning in to South Coast Radio and spending some of your precious time with us. Well, today I didn't get any requests, shame on you, for a topic that you would like to know more about. So I thought I would touch on just a couple of basic things. Let's call it back to basics. A couple of basic things that we need, the skills that we need to function reasonably well within the world on a daily basis. Now, the first one I would like to talk about is self-management. How do we manage ourselves? Because if we cannot manage ourselves, we cannot manage anything or anyone else. Picture a boss who is totally disorganized, always changing his or her mind, and yet trying to control you and giving you directions and instructions and changing them. It becomes an impossibility. So, in order for you to achieve your desired outcomes in life, achieve your goals, you first have to manage yourself. And that starts, as always, with what you think, with what you allow to take up space in your head. Those thoughts that nest in your head and become your guiding lights. We need to be very aware of them, because whether you tell yourself that you can or whether you tell yourself that you can't, you are right. Those things we tell ourselves, those ideas that become our beliefs, that set up shop in our heads, become the truths that we live by. So if I am forever telling myself that I am not intelligent enough to do a particular task, that will become my belief. I will live by that belief. I will not even try. I have set myself up for failure before I've actually established that I am not capable of doing a certain task. By the same token, if I tell myself that I can, I will keep on trying until I succeed, because I know I can. It has become the thought that has become a belief that has become my truth. So listeners, manage your thinking and be very aware of the truths that you have adopted and invested in, and see where they come from. Of course, if they had to ask me, can you play netball? The answer is no, no, and no, I can't. But I am comfortable with that. Whether I play netball or not does not really add quality to my life. And should it be something that I really wanted to be competent at, I can be disciplined enough and dedicated enough to that undertaking to become competent. So you see how that yes I can or no I can't thoughts that we allow to nest in our heads become our truth, our script, like a movie script that we live by. So your thinking, watch what you think. Secondly, of course, is that impulse control, anger, frustration, bursting into tears, throwing things down, slamming doors, all those things that we do in the moment because our emotions, we have allowed our emotions to run away and to dictate how we behave or what we say. So control your emotions, anger, frustration, etc., etc. Have balance. Make sure that you're not all about work, but also make sure you're not all about, and here I really want to say social media and YouTube and those things that really, I find in speaking to clients that they're spending a lot of time on activities that do not add value to their lives. It does not teach them anything. It does not give them skills, and it really robs them of their potential, because too much screen time, irrespective of your age, starts robbing you of communication skills, of socialization skills, of your imagination. Imagining what you could be doing, thinking, well, I've got nothing to do, what shall I do? And being able to imagine create, invent an activity instead of reaching for the cell phone or reaching for the remote. I think it's Einstein that said imagination is more important than education, because education will only take you so far, but your imagination can take you anywhere. And really everything that we see and experience in life was first imagined by someone, and then it was produced and patented, and now we enjoy it. So balancing life, and I'm not saying never watch TV or never watch one of the apps. I'm just saying have balance. Don't let screen time become your go-to. Don't let your cell phone become a cell, as in prison, for your thinking and for your quality of life. Do fun things. Punctuate your life with fun things. For example, last night my husband came home. I was consulting late. He came in and he said, you know what, let's just pop out and have a meal. Something we very seldom do on what I call a school night. But it was spontaneous. We popped out, we had a meal, came back, it was lovely. No one had to cook, no one had to clean up. So we punctuated the week with something that was lovely and spontaneous and fun. So be sure that you punctuate your life. Again, this is not something we do every day, but punctuate your life with fun. Shake things up a bit. Leave your comfort zone. Listeners, if you don't leave your comfort zone, you will never find out what you're comfortable of. I saw something the other day that said, but what if I fall? I don't know if I can fly. And then the answer is, yes, you don't know if you can fly because you have never tried. So leave that comfort zone. Push yourself, push the envelope and stretch. Don't just pick the low-hanging fruit. Manage your stress. Manage your anxiety. If you need professional help with these things, which are very real in today's world, stress and anxiety is taking a big toll on people for a host of reasons. Please get assistance. So self-management firstly. Secondly is communication, and more communication. What we say is important, but just as important is how you say it. So when you communicate with anyone, your children, and I'll start with that. Remember, our children learn to communicate by the way we communicate with them. When your baby's born, you as mom, dad, you are their first exposure to this thing called talking, communicating. And as they grow up and develop those very early years, they learn how to communicate. So if your toddler is shouting or cheeky or not speaking very nicely, ask yourself where he or she has learned that. Does it perhaps come from you or other significant adults in his or her life? So be sure that you communicate, as we've said before, clearly, but also in a courteous, loving, caring way, because your children learn from what you expose them to initially, long before they go to school or play school or grade 0 or grade R. They have learned from you how to communicate and how to deal with disagreement. So if you and your partner fight and scream and there's a lot of unpleasantness happening when you disagree, your children are going to say, oh, okay, so that is how we deal with someone who doesn't agree with us or doesn't want to do what I want to do. And that will be their go-to response. And show them a better way of communicating. Show them a better, more efficient, more practical way of sorting out differences, which is discussion, negotiation, a give and take. And remember, negotiate in its very essence means I give some and I get some. You give some, you get some. We both lose some, but we both win some. And so we both walk away winners. There's not a you win, I lose, or I win and then you lose situation. That is how we solve differences. So you need to be prepared to give, to concede when you have a difference with someone. So teach your children that. Teach the young people in your life, teenagers, that there is a far better way than fighting, screaming, slamming doors, etc. Those are very, very primitive ways of communication. So remember, communicate is how you say it and what you say, and listening, and putting yourself in the other person's shoes. So communication is always, always important. And then lastly, interpersonal relationships. How do I relate to those I interact with regularly? My family, we interact with them daily. Don't make your family, your partner, your dumping ground. Things go wrong at work, you get home in a foul mood and everything's unpleasant. You young people didn't have a good day at school and they come home and they throw their bag down and everything's unpleasant. Don't make your family your dumping ground. Rather, if you've had a bad time, come in and say, listen guys, I've had a really bad day, so just give me some space so I could exhale and calm down. Or if you want to talk about it, say to your partner, look, I need a sounding board. I need to unburden. And you are my go-to trusted person. Are you up for it? Remember, we ask because they may not be in a space to receive that. So we check with them and say, are you up for it? I just need to let this be. Or if not now, when will you be? So don't just dump. Don't just think it is my right to come home, be thoroughly unpleasant, and it is your duty to accept it. Again, that is not right. It is not fair. It is not conducive to good relationships. And you're not teaching the young people anything. And you're not teaching yourself. It's not a growth mindset. Secondly, ask yourself, the people you interact with regularly, how do they perceive and experience you? You know, there are those wonderful people who, they're just such a ray of sunshine. Whenever you bump into them or spend time with them, your spirits are lifted. They're just so awesome to be around. They've got a positive energy, even when things aren't going perfectly well. So do people experience you like that, or are you that wet blanket that when somebody has bumped into you, all you've done is moan and complain about everything and everyone in your life, in the country, in the world, in nature? It's just moan, and somebody walks away from you feeling thoroughly depressed. And by that, I'm not saying don't be what people like to call a realist, but as I've said, we have a choice. Do you want to look at the sky, or do you want to look at the potholes? That's a choice we make every day. And if you choose to look at the sky, look for the silver lining, look for that which is good and right in your life, you will find it, and you will find evidence of it. So ask yourself, how do I relate to people? How do people experience me? And of course, you can ask yourself, who are the people that I interact with regularly? And that is Mango. Shush. Do they perhaps make me feel less than happy, less than capable, less than what I would like to feel and be like? So if we examine our interactions a little bit with people, because as I've said, as human beings, we are social creatures. We are in relationships, some serious, some not so serious, but we are definitely with people all day, every day. So those relationships need to a little bit of examining and a little bit of looking at, so that we can make sure not only do we impact people positively, but that the people we associate with impact us positively. They lift, they don't lean. And when they lean, it is by mutual consent. Of course, we are there for our friends and family when they have issues and problems, and we support. But there's a difference between supporting my partner or a family member in a difficult time and them unloading on me and me taking it on. So, listeners, I hope that was useful. Just some back to basics. Let's call it that. Back to basics. Self-management, communication, and interpersonal relationships, interpersonal skills, mutual respect, mutual consideration, good communication, self-management, and life should start looking a lot brighter. Have a wonderful day, and please send in some requests. We love it. We are happy to talk about anything. If it falls outside my field of expertise, outside my wheelhouse, as they say, I shall certainly let you know and stick with what I have knowledge and skills in. Have a wonderful day.
The radio station you can't live without. This is your radio.
This is South Coast Radio.